With E3 2018 now in the past, a lot of us are digging deeper into the trailers and developer interviews to try to pull out as many details as possible. So while I have my latest Anthem news update video almost ready for upload, I wanted to get this one out first. Whether you've been following Anthem for a while now, or perhaps you're new to it altogether, hopefully there's some brand new stuff in here, things that you might have missed while soaking up the E3 trailers. YouTube, what's going on, y'all? Sly here, back at it with Anthem. So incredibly stoked for this game, guys. I cannot wait to find out when our next news release will be. But anyways, within this video, guys, I put together 25 facts that you might have missed from the EA Play Conference, E3 trailers, developer Q&A, interviews, etc. So whether you're new to Anthem or been hounding it for the past year like I have, hopefully there will be something new in here for everyone. Alright, freelancers, without delay, let's get this bad boy started. So, 25 facts, starting off with number 1, suits. There will be 4 suits available when Anthem launches. We have the Ranger, Colossus, Interceptor, and of course, so far, everyone's favorite, the Storm. When the campaign begins, you do start off with the Ranger. However, as you progress through the story and unlock missions, you will then unlock the other suits as well. But the best part about this is that they will all unlock at once, so you can choose which mission and which suit you want to unlock first. Whether or not you want to hop in the Storm, Interceptor, or tank around in the Colossus for the rest of the story, that is entirely up to you. Once again, BioWare is focusing on letting players choose how they want to play within their own story. Moving on to number 2, each Javelin will be equipped with 2 weapons, and they also have 2 abilities to be equipped as well. But on top of that, they have varying kinds of melee abilities, as well as an intrinsic perk or ability that is going to be unique for that specific suit. However, more so than that, there is a melee weapon available as well, something that can be upgraded and changed throughout the game. We'll dive into more details on that here in a few. But next up for number 3, damage. Suits show physical damage throughout the game. As you can see here, the more damage you take, the more busted your Javelin suit will end up looking. You can see sparks, smoke, and some kind of energy dancing around the bent pieces of this Ranger suit. Now, we haven't seen death yet, so we're not sure on how busted these suits can actually become or what it looks like when you die. But the things to take away from this is that damage does physically show up on your suit. Moving on to number 4, ultimate abilities. On top of 2 weapons and your 2 abilities, you also have various melee abilities, its intrinsic ability, and the Javelin also comes equipped with a very powerful ultimate ability. Now, we've only seen small glimpses of these in action, so we really don't know how cooldowns work yet, or if there are multiple kinds available per suit, but so far it only seems like there is 1 per Javelin. And just so you guys know, everything I'm about to tell you right now comes from my observation watching live gameplay. So with that said, it did seem like the Colossus' ultimate ability did the most damage out of all of them, but it also seemed the one that took the longest to charge. The Ranger seemed to be in the middle in terms of damage and cooldown, while the Storm seemed to do the least amount of damage, but it had its ultimate ability ready at a more frequent pace. Now again, this is how it appeared to me. It could have just been fancy editing, but at EA Play, I was able to see live gameplay, and every time they cut between Javelins, it seemed like the Storm had it available much faster than the rest. But again, guys, take this lightly because we're not 100% sure about this. So maybe I should change the title to 25 facts sprinkled with 1 or 2 guesses. Anyways, moving on to the next one, guys. Number 5, the Strider. In Anthem, we have a mobile base called the Strider. It's a forward operating base, or FOB, that can travel around the open world in Anthem and go with us wherever we need it to go. So instead of constantly flying back and forth from the main area, then back to Fort Tarsus, we can simply hop in the Strider and modify our suits, check in on quests, etc. Now, of course, the Strider will not have all of the amenities that Fort Tarsus has, but I know for a fact that you can upgrade and modify your suit here, as I saw the menu for it at EA Play. It can also hold a decent amount of people within, so I would think that this is going to serve many different purposes throughout the game itself. Moving on to number 6, flying. Now, all suits can fly, and with that, all suits have an overheating mechanic as well. Now, this does a couple things. First, it makes it so that you cannot fly straight up and out of the map, and it makes it so that you cannot simply skip over entire missions just by flying over the whole thing. You have to come back down for it to cool off. Now, we all know about flying, but what this is really about is the overheating mechanic. You can use the world around you to help cool your suit. As you can see here, This Colossus is flying and it starts to heat up his suit, but watch as he flies into the waterfall. It immediately cooled it back down to normal. So on long flights, always be looking for waterfalls or some kind of water feature that will help you prolong your flight. And speaking of flight, next up for number 7, flight mods. You can modify just about everything on your exosuit, including abilities that help you fly or swim. Now you can optimize your suit to fly faster or fly longer, or perhaps you can go for more armor while flying, but that will change how far you can go before you need to cool off. So modifiers will be a huge part of Anthem. If you want to stay underwater longer or you want to fly for longer, that mod will be available. So moving on to number 8, crafting. Crafting will be present in Anthem. Now there isn't any evidence of this in the trailer or from the developer interviews, but during EA Play, I was able to take a quick peek at the menu, and crafting was one of the main sub-menus. So while I'm not sure what kind of crafting we're going to be able to do, know that I did see a crafting menu, and I'm pretty sure that's there to stay. Next up, number 9, kind of goes with flying and the overheat mechanic, but we can also swim underwater as well. Okay, well actually it's more like flying underwater since we're still using our boosters. But since our suits are now entirely underwater, they no longer have the need to be cooled down. So in theory, you can swim around forever. But instead of the overheat mechanic, that is now replaced with an O2 meter. This shows you how much air you have to breathe, which is also something that can be upgraded as well. Moving on to number 10, revives. Even though we don't know how the game's death mechanics work as of right now, revives will be in the game. Just like other open world, shared world shooters, it's an interaction where you hold down the button to pick up your teammate. Okay, freelancers, 10 facts down, 15 left. But now, let's start getting into the actual world. So, coming in at number 11, matchmaking. One of the biggest hurdles, and one of the reasons why a lot of players out there hate multiplayer games, is because they don't have friends online to play with. So, matchmaking solves this problem. On the other hand, people also hate multiplayer games because of the situations matchmaking can put you in. You either matched up with some complete asshole, or some kind of elitist who thinks they're created directly from the Anthem itself, or you get complete trash, even worse, a troll, or someone who takes a smoke break like every 5 minutes, better yet, at every single team wipe while you're doing a raid. I know I'm making it sound like matchmaking is something absolutely terrible, and at times it can be, especially for high-level in-game activities like during raids. However, it can also be a game's best feature. My original Destiny clan were players I met entirely from matchmaking. Forcing you to interact with others also allows for, new ideas to spread amongst the community. After talking, you sometimes find other fans just as passionate as yourself, and that turns into friendships. And that develops into because of matchmaking. So while I personally do not use matchmaking for in-game stuff, unless there are strict rules to adhere or strict rules present, I do believe that games should have them available and present for those who want or need to use it. So Anthem will have matchmaking available, and not just for free roam. Matchmaking will be available for everything, even in-game content. Not quite sure how I feel about that yet, but it is nice to at least have the option open for when you need it or for those who really want to use it. Next up, numero 12, clans and guilds. The official word on clans or guilds, at least at the time of making this video, is that they're not talking about them quite yet, but BioWare has announced that clans or guilds do exist. So basically this means Anthem will have some kind of guild system. However, it's probably one of the last systems to be introduced, which basically means it's still being built. However, they are coming, we just don't know very much about it yet. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to number 13, PvP. Anthem will have 0 PvP opportunities. According to BioWare, they made this choice so that they could focus more on the world and the in-game systems rather than split up a team to handle PvP for, all of time. Something I absolutely agree with, and I am happy to see. Number 14, fast travel. While we don't have any idea how it works, or if you can fast travel within your suit or only in your strider, we do know that fast traveling is going to be available. Moving on to number 15, enemies. Now, we knew about the Scar ever since last year's E3 trailer. Think of them as like Anthem's version of the Fallen in Destiny. Creatures that kind of use technology in place of body parts, eyes, arms, legs, weapons, etc. However, we now know that the Scar are simply a nuisance. The real enemy within Anthem is a faction called the Dominion. It's also been confirmed that this picture right here is an early concept art of the Dominion. The Dominion are a powerful race of fighters who are trying to weaponize the Anthem of Creation. So far, besides this picture, we don't really have any evidence of them in game, and nothing's popped up or showing us what they really look like as of right now, of course, except for this early concept art. But as soon as I find something or they announce it, you will know as well. Next, coming in at number 16, technology. The tech within Anthem is called Shaper Tech. Now this technology, as well as the massive pieces of broken alien structures that litter the planet, this is all remnants from what are called the Old Gods. Shaper technology is the technology of the Old Gods. It creates storms, such as the one we got to see last year in the E3 trailer, and it can also be used for building, destroying, creating a plethora of uses. Who these gods are, we're not quite sure of yet. Something else we're still learning about, and also coming in at number 17, the mysterious force called the Anthem of Creation. The Anthem of Creation is interacting with Shaper technology, and this is what causes the mutation of the local flora and fauna and turns them into massive creatures who want to eat and kill everything in sight. Now, this behind the scenes battle of the Anthem versus Shaper Tech is also why the planet is so volatile. The two forces are constantly colliding, spawning earthquakes, changing the landscape, and creating the world you see around you. This Anthem of Creation is something I can't wait to dive into a little deeper. Moving on to number 18, World Events. Not only do massive boss battles exist within Anthem, but there will also be public events, or as they are known in Anthem, World Events. As you see in this trailer, the Ranger flies right into this massive beast here. This is a world event featuring an ancient guardian known as a Titan. Boss battles with an Anthem are a pretty long multi-step encounter, at least the ones I've seen so far, and as you would expect, health pools are reflected by that, so expect some tanky monsters out there in the world of Anthem. Okay, so moving on to number 19, scaling. Now I'm not talking about climbing here, like scaling a wall, but rather level scaling. In the demo I was shown at EA Play, there were 3 players who were all at level 30, which I am assuming might be the level cap, but again, take this lightly as it is only a guess. In any case, the 4th player, who wore the storm suit, was only a level 4. Now this level 4 joined up on a group of level 30s, so why even bother, right? Well, that's because enemies scale to your level no matter where you go or who you join up with. A level 4 player can join a max level character, and a max level character can join up on a level 4 mission and still die from the damage. Also, since the enemies scale to your level no matter whose group you join, you will always be able to help out your teammates, no matter how big of a gap there is between levels. Now that doesn't mean you will be just as effective as a level 30, but you have a fighting shot and you'll be able to contribute to taking down bosses or completing missions, events, or quests. So that's a pretty big deal here, guys, and for those hardcore players who have a lot of casual friends online, that means you can always play together. Well, at least for the campaign and the open world. No word yet on endgame, but I'm assuming that max level will be required. Otherwise, what's the point of endgame, right? Okay guys, so moving on to number 20, the suit itself. Javelin suits are actually an ancient technology. They have been handed down from pilot to pilot over a very long time, and each pilot adds a little bit of him or herself into the suit. This evolves it over time. Even though the suit is quote-unquote ancient, it is still an advanced and complex piece of technology. Remember, Anthem is supposedly set in an extreme far future, so even ancient technology will still be light years ahead of what we could come up with here on Earth at this time. And while we're on the suit itself, here's a free fact. Javelin suits are completely customizable. From the paint jobs of the helmet, legs, chest, arms, complete shader solutions to armor additions and changes, all the way to weapons and abilities, each can be modified and expanded on as the story expands and you start leveling up. From what I've heard, there are an insane amount of options dedicated just to customizing your Javelin. So we don't know how many, of course, but I can't wait to see more. Alright freelancers, moving on to the final 5 facts, number 21, loadouts. There are supposedly a mind-blowing amount of modifications, abilities, weapons, and styles of play within Anthem. Now because of this, especially during endgame content, you need different loadouts to handle different scenarios. So with so many things out there to manage, loadouts will make things 1,000 times easier. And it is confirmed that Anthem will have loadouts to help you do just that. Number 22, I kind of forgot to put this back up towards the top within the flying section, but all suits will overheat whenever they use their boosters. So flying, hovering, dodging in air, all of this will start to heat up your suit. However, the storm does not. As you can see, you can do a teleporting dodge as well as hover for as long as you want. The storm will only need to be cooled down if you are using it to fly. Now, I'm not quite sure if there's a built-in cooldown for teleporting, like say so you can only teleport back to back 3 or 4 times before you have to wait a couple seconds so you can do it again, or if you can teleport to your heart's content. But using Storm to hover, cast abilities, or shoot, that can be done forever. Now keep in mind, we also have yet to see the Interceptor in action. It's a super lightweight suit, even smaller than Storm, so it may also be able to hover for as long as it wants. We'll see soon enough when they finally release some gameplay. Okay, freelancers, hang in there guys, we are down to the final 3 facts. So first up, number 23, the campaign. For those who are new to Anthem or haven't heard yet, you can play Anthem completely by yourself. Turn off notifications, set your status to offline, and disappear into the world and its lore. The game will be easier and it is best experienced with teammates. But BioWare created Anthem with the express purpose to make sure it could be completed like a single player game. Their slogan is Shared World, My Story, which I think sums it up beautifully. Alright guys, moving on to fact number 24, and I'm going to be honest here, I really don't have a good word to kind of sum it up, but let's just call it opportunities and strategies to maximize your DPS. Combos will be an important part of boss battles and high-level in-game activities. Mixing different techniques and strategies along with powerful combos, those will be the best way to optimize DPS within your group. Also, while combos will be important to dealing lots of damage, how you deliver that damage will also be extremely important. The boss fight I was shown at E3 had weak spots on its back, and trying to hit them while it was facing you proved to be pretty much impossible. But then I started to see something I really was not expecting. All of a sudden, an MMO-esque style of play started to show up. The Colossus took out its shield, strolled right up to the boss, and then immediately the boss turned all of its attention to the one Colossus and no one else. Basically, it was tanking. Now, as far as we know, our Javelins don't have any kind of armor boosts or elemental energy to provide an additional shield, or even some kind of class specialization to provide healing, at least as far as we've known. And also, we haven't been shown, nor has any evidence popped up supporting this. But in any case, because there was no ability to keep the shield topped up or a way to regen health, the 2 Colossi in the E3 trailer started taking turns taking the boss's aggro, so the teammates could then shoot at the now open weak spots. You can see the shield in action right here, and watch as the Colossus runs through the mines. See how the shield takes damage instead of the Javelin itself? Well, it was doing the same thing at the boss, and when the shield started to run low, they had to switch out. But seeing this really surprised me, guys, and it also gives me hope that somewhere down around the end game, special class customization options might unlock to provide better tanking or perhaps even team support by providing health or fixing javelins on the spot, additional armor, elemental protection, or perhaps just additional layer of armor, or even different shield altogether, one that can take way more damage. So that's something I am pretty excited for, taking the fact that there are some gigantic bosses within Anthem, and I think being a Colossus is not only going to be one of the more important classes, but also pretty damn fun. Alright freelancers, and moving on to our last fact, number 25, each freelancer has a Cypher. Now a Cypher is an NPC-like character that chimes in with tactical data, quest updates, environmental data, etc. Think of it like the voice that pops up in the Division when you enter the Dark Zone, or when a cache drops, when your helicopter arrives, etc. Or better yet, think of Cortana from Halo, beside the whole, going crazy murdering thing happening at the end there. But your Cypher within Anthem, your Cypher's name is Owen, and I'm not quite sure if Owen is an AI, or more so than that, your Javelin Suits AI, kind of like Jarvis from Iron Man. Details are still a little slim, but nonetheless, getting tactical data is always a good thing to hear. And from what I hear, Owen will be with you for pretty much the entire time. But that is really about it, my friends. The only other thing that's worth knowing, and something that I just recently found out about, is that both our Javelin exosuits and our characters rank up. So it's not mashed into one upgrade system. Both the pilot and our suits will have different ways to level up. Also something I really wasn't expecting, and it's also something that could lead to very interesting possibilities down the road. And something else I just found out about is that weapons and armor won't always rise in level with you. So just like in other games, there will be a time when your favorite weapon or armor piece might become obsolete and it'll end up dragging you down. As you can see here, Mark Darrow was asked a question about the pre-order armor, And if this is the case with pre-order stuff, then that means it will also affect other pieces of gear as well. Okay, now, my friends, now we are done. I could really keep going on, but I have news video to finish up and a lot of other stuff to take a look at. So that is going to be it for me, y'all. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting the channel. I am incredibly excited about Anthem, and being a huge BioWare fan just makes it all the more exciting. So keep it here, as Anthem will be my main focus going forward. And as long as there's news to report back and stuff to scrape together, I will be making videos about it. So hope to see you all back here again for the next Anthem video. Until then, subscribe for tons more Anthem, Destiny 2 Forsaken, and Division 2 content. Spank the thumbs up only if you enjoyed yourself, and if you're up for it, feel free to check me out on Twitter or Facebook, Sly Nation on Twitter, Sly Nation Gaming on the FB. It's a great place to stay up to date on all of my videos, links to all kinds of information, and giveaways when the time comes. Take care, y'all, and keep those eyes open for more Anthem videos coming out here soon. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll catch the Freelancer Nation next time.